Hey, what's up? You are tuned in and back at the Bougie AF channel with your host, Shug Avery. I just got to the place in life I was just like, I don't know. I'm just bougie. Now let's get into the show. Hey y'all, we are back. You're tuned into Bougie AF, and you got your host here, Miss Shug Avery, baby. So listen, I'm sitting here with the chapstick, and we keep it glossy on these foods. All right, so this is actually also going to be another quick video, probably like 5 or 6 minutes, not even. So me and my brother the other day, we're living in quarantine, but living in hell right now. 2020, year of exposure, year of just like everything falling apart, year of just like loss, right? People were losing their lives, lost jobs, lost income. Like it's just been a year of loss, right? So with that being said, we have comedy specials and we have people trying to work and put stuff out there, for people to enjoy, to relax. So Kevin Hart comes out with a comedy special. Now, if you've been, in black community, you listen and you are a fan of black comedians. It just is what it is. Now, I think the problem is that Kevin Hart came out with a family friendly kind of ish comedy special. He wasn't, degrading women. He wasn't um overly swearing. It wasn't blackety blackety black. That's what I would describe it. It wasn't blackety blackety black. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. It wasn't Cat Williams type of comedy. I love Cat. So for me, there's no question here. Cat 1, Kevin 2. Right? So it wasn't Cat Williams, right? But I think the problem is that as black people that we need to understand as ourselves, even within ourselves, that we are not all the same. We don't even have to all like the same things. We don't have to all do the same things. We don't have to think the same way. We don't have to there's nothing that says or no reason why other black people think that every black person has to operate and think in a way that they feel like they approve or that they think is normal, right? I've had some of the craziest, and like I tell y'all about those groups, I've had some of the most basic ass people think that that they are in the norm of society. It's just weird. So, but there's just no reason why people just think that we are all the same across the board. We don't have the same experiences. We don't all come from the same places. We're not all the same red. We're just not the same. So when I see Kevin Hart comes out with his comedy special, I take things for what they are, right? I don't try to make them into what I want them to be. If I don't enjoy something, I don't fucking enjoy. If I don't like something, I'm gonna leave a comment, but more or less, I'm gonna move the fuck on. Like I'm not gonna you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna deep dive into something that I say that is just not for me, but then I see other people like it. Like that's just weird. I mean, that's just weird to me that as people, yes, some people may feel Kevin Hart and his comedy style that he's developed into, which seems to be very. If I had to think about what's his name, Townsend, like him, like very clean cut, very. Who else? I think I seen what's his name, George Wallace one time, and he talked about the different types of comedians and how you knew who was who and who was down and who was with what. And I remember him talking about like they would go perform shows, right? And in the 90s, it was just like they all know each other. They were all on the comedy circuit, driving from city to city, just trying to make it and build themselves, right? So, and I remember him saying that George Wallace gave this story, and it was in terms of what's his name? Is it Seinfeld, right? So they're talking about times they may have been on a road with each other, and he talks about how there was just two sets of comedians, right? He said you had him, you had George Seinfeld, I think his name's Adam, but you had Seinfeld, and you had, I wish I really remember because I didn't think I was going to bring this up, so this is just a memory. So, and you have some other comedians, and he said when you sit back and you look at those comedians, all of our comedy and how we even just lived and how we were as people were on par, like it matched, right? He's like, I wasn't ghetto and all that, and I wasn't over the top and da da da. But he said that we clicked, right? I say that to say that that's the same thing in comedy, right? There's comedians that just are more similar, and you can group them here than you can group Cat Williams and let me think. I think if I had to me, Kevin Hart and Ricky Smiley are in the same group. Not to say they're equally or one's better, but Kevin Hart and Ricky Smiley are in the same group. Whereas Cat Williams and who else is doing comedy that I feel like that's really on the raw? Because I don't even think Dave Chappelle's on the blackety black raw. Do you get what I'm saying? So, but Cat Williams is just in a different group of comedians. So when I sit down and I choose to watch a Kevin Hart special or Kevin Hart comedians, I know what I'm getting. I'm going to get jokes about it, jokes about his daughter. I'm going to get jokes about his wife. I'm going to get jokes about his family. I know what I'm going to get. You know what I'm saying? So when I see people trying to just play him as if though he's not funny, it just comes off as hating. It just comes off as though we're not mature or mentally um educated or mentally just developed enough to just be able to say, okay, I may not like it, but it is what it is. There's something for everybody. We don't have that capacity. We don't even have that capacity when you even look at YouTube. And the reason why I said I don't like to engage too much with other YouTube people, or I won't be doing a whole lot of back and forth, or whatever, because we don't know how to just understand. I'm just talking about even locally or on Facebook or in my city, and when it comes to supporting artists and stuff like that, people just don't know how to support people, right? Without feeling like that person's going to get too far ahead of them, or not having that feeling you don't want to see that person succeed, so because you don't understand it or you don't get it, so you want to hate on something that you don't get. I'd rather just not say nothing. If I just don't like something, just move on. There's a lot of people that I've run across on YouTube. I don't like their channel. What's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with the tea price of tea in China? Do I need to talk about it on my videos? Do I need to talk about it in my everyday life? Do I need to tell the next person? No, because their experience with it may be so much different than mine, and they so much like it. They may like it. Who am I? We're not all the same. We don't all laugh at the same things. There are some people who go back and love watching 70s movies and black exploitations and think that is great cinema. Or I've seen people who was watching and I do critiques on shows. That's what I do. But I went and watched I was watching PValley, Pussy Valley last night, and I think that's a piece of awful work. I don't think there's any depth. I think there's a lot of copying from other great shows and other great movies and stuff, and culminating and putting it in one. That's what that came across as to me. Pussy Valley came across as that. So I think it's the music is dope. I think the trying to show a community is dope in the sense of these strippers. They all come from the same struggle. They're from this country as town. It's hard. Like that part was dope, but you can't tell me like people think that's good. Like I remember sitting watching. She said her name was Autumn. I said Diamond. Like I just thought she said the wrong name. She said Autumn. I said Diamond. That's Diamond. Like she looked like Lisa Ray's baby sister. And he's like, oh, you just saying that because you like skin? No, 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 no. I'm saying that because we sat and watched the opening of how this girl was like walks in, and she's this shy light skinned girl, and she looks pure and innocent and as if though she's not from the street and know anything about the street. And then if I went back and y'all watched, the Players Club, that's the most that's the theme around Lisa's character when she first walks in the club, shy and honestly, people had to put her up on game and give her game and stuff like that. And it was just like, okay, where are we getting creative? Where's the creativity outside of what we've already seen going to come in? Then you have the owner of the strip club for Pussy Valley that was just like, how did this become a Pussy Valley? I'll just put this in the thing. Then you had the owner of the strip club who to me was the dollar bill character. The only difference is, the similarities is that he owed money to somebody. You get what I'm saying? He had an outside beef that wanted to take him out. That's the same plot line as Players Club. Let me think what else. Only difference was that he was gay. He was gay. I mean, and more or less, the more that you went down, remember there was a white stripper girl in Players Club. I mean, granted, she didn't have a lot of lines like Gidget does in Pussy Valley, but just like I don't see outside of this show, like where's the big difference? Only part that I think I really, really liked, honestly, like in terms of the show, I still thought it was bad writing in terms of the mother character of Mercedes. Like her lines were just weird. Even though they were supposed to seem she's supposed to come off as a religious fanatic. I like the incorporation of that. I thought that was dope. And the reason I think that is dope because no I've always described the Black experience or Black people's relationship in the Black community with church as a very pimp like ish culture. And that's just how I see it. Anytime, well, you have people And as you've seen in Pussy Valley, you know, she it was a whole lot of conversation about money. How we gonna get the money from the people? You know, there's a lot of scamming on getting the money. That's not fine. That's fine. Money, it costs money to run buildings, but you always talking about money and then you're not behaving in a Christ-like behavior. It's just like that's a double negative. But I love that they showed that. I love they showed how, like, even with a mother-daughter relationship, this mother was willing to pimp out her daughter in the sense of, if you, and I said this in I think one of my previous videos on when it came to church, is that I feel like we've gotten from the hard no's. Like, that's a no. That's not even there. You can't even play around with it. That's a no, because people are more concerned about putting seats in the building. Do you get what I'm saying? So with that being a hard no, you know, to see that a mother, you know, her daughter's a stripper. Not to say that she's supposed to, you know, cut her daughter off or anything like that, but to condone it in a way of, in the sense of, your daughter knows as long as she gives you money, you're going to be okay. You're pimping that situation, and you're okay with saying, oh, you know, it's your tithes, and you know, your forgiveness is in your giving to God, even though, you know what I mean. It's like, no, that's not how that works. That's, and to me, it's like a deeper, because I don't even like to. I don't need, like, to me, and I just said this to my homeboy the other day. Religion triggers me, okay, and then I'm triggered by it when people try to use it to kind of not own up to their shit, or try to use it in a way of kind of disarm you from holding them accountable for their actions, right? There's a whole lot of, well, I brought it to God, you know what I mean? And that's all that should matter. So once people start using it like that, that's spiritual manipulation, right? So they're using it to try to get an outcome they want. So it has nothing to do with Christ. That's just manipulation. So, you know, for me, I see that so much in the Black community that I'm just like, girl, if I didn't meet you at church, and we ain't never met up and go to church, and we ain't never even blessed our food together, like prayed over it, but don't talk to me about no church after you do some shit to me, okay? That's where I be with it. So I say all that to say, as I was watching Pussy Valley and I was watching, um, you know, comedy and shows wise, and I brought that up and talking about Kevin Hart. Yo, we can have different, even with my opinion with Pussy Valley, y'all can still love it. It's for y'all. It's not for me. And I think there's that expectation to say, okay, because I've decided that it's not for me, I'm not gonna trash it no more. But I do a channel and I do talk about shows. I like to live tweet my thoughts when I'm watching TV. But no, am I going to, you know, overly overdo my my thoughts? Oh, am I gonna go in um 100 times and 100 nights on Pussy Valley? No, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's still it gives people a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm aware of that, but at the same time, I want to see evolve. I want us not to have weird ass narratives of light skin and dark skin. You get what I'm saying? Like, you had this light skinned girl who was literally getting all the breaks in the terms of making money because she was a favorite, and still be jealous of Mercedes. That shit was so weird to me. Like, so now it's like, now the light skinned girl gotta also be winning, like making more money than everybody, really getting to shine, you know, coming into her own, and now she still gotta be jealous of Mercedes and low key competing. Like, I didn't like that shit. I didn't even like how, like, why was there beef? And I think it was because Mercedes was, the character Mercedes was, you know, a little you know, off putting in the beginning. I get it. I think she's seen this light skinned girl just like, oh God, I know what I'm competing. Like, I get that, but it's just like they just kept trying to build on this weird ass competition where I just didn't like it. If you're winning, especially with the light skinned character, like, that was so demoralizing for, think of the Black girls that could be watching that, and like that messaging that may be, that may send. A little girl who may be dealing with some insecurities and not really loving her Black skin, her dark skin, may look at that and was like, okay, like, she just showed up and she winning, and she still want what this other, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's just crazy that irresponsibly producers and people who are putting this together can't come up with something that is a little bit more evolved in thought in what they're trying to put out there. I think the show is a, I think the concept and what they're trying to do is great, but I just don't think it belongs to them, honestly. But I mean, they're doing it, so it does. But I think it could have had better character development in some places, and especially with some speeches. It got very like, I threw some hot grits on them. Like, oh shit, we're gonna use every Black saying to everything that we do. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna take it all. We're gonna do it all, right? We're gonna do the black. We're gonna do the grits on the man. We're gonna do the whole down low brother thing. We're gonna do the whole like we get a lot. Like we're gonna do the whole domestic violence thing. Like it's a little bit all over the place, y'all. For it to be a series. You know what I'm saying? That's why more or less why I do like shows like The Good Fight or, The Good Wife. And I think there's coming a new show coming out called Your Honor. I do like those shows because they have deeper layers in their characters that it does not come off as give me that 2020 exploitation. That's what Pussy Valley reminded me of, black exploitation. It did. It did. It played into just stereotypes. And if you know anything about black exploitation movies, they just play into stereotypes about black people. And there's something else. I've seen that. What's his name? Someone pointed something out about Sidney Poitier in some of the movies he might have been involved with. So, but that's a very highly acclaimed and people love that era. There are some people like Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier did put out a lot of movies and starred in a lot of movies. And I think when you talk about the downfall of Bill Cosby and why he was just so unrelatable, by the time he got into the 1990s and early 2000s and the things that he was saying out of his mouth, you got to really go back and look at some of those probably movies he played in, the black exploitation movies, to understand there's always been a disconnect in the sense of, not a disconnect, but if you thought he felt like he was better than everyday normal black people, maybe from the hood and da, and you are entitled to feel how you feel, y'all know how I am about Bill Cosby. Free Bill. Free Bill. But y'all know how I feel about Bill Cosby. But if you had the feeling or you felt like you didn't like Bill Cosby because he, felt like he was better than black people and thought he was better than black people, I would tell you that I don't think you watched him. I would tell you that there was nothing new about Bill Cosby feeling like there was a lack of education in moral and respect within the black community. I think that's always been there. I think if you go back and you just start to look at the movies that he put out, I think he always had a feeling and had a thought about how he's seen the black community, right? I personally, as a black woman, I'm not starring in movies that's going to set or make black women look a certain way. That's my core value thing. But necessarily what I think I'm trying to say, I think this man has always told you how he felt about some things within our community. That doesn't make him wrong. All I'm saying is that everyone has and have a right to be entitled to feel how they want to. But it's no surprise to me that Bill Cosby feels and thought those things that people don't like that he said. I'm not surprised by it. Look at his movies. Look at the Cosby Show. When you go back and other people are like, that's just a TV show. No, look at the Cosby Show. The man told you what he thought. He thought that blackness looked like this and could be this if we concentrated more on family, right? If we concentrated more on what a loving relationship looked like, if we concentrated more on our children and their education, if we held our kids responsible, if we set a great environment, he's always been telling you this is what he thinks we either need to do or what he saw us as doing. If you go back to the 70s, this is what my observation has been. And so let me show you. Oh no, y'all. Oh, let's bring it back in. So we're bringing it back in and saying comedy is across the board. Like we have views and we have thoughts that don't have to all align. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't make someone your enemy because they may look at things differently than you. You may have an opportunity to put someone on to something to look at something differently. You get what I'm saying? I think you may have an opportunity to put somebody on so they can see it differently. You know what I mean? I don't think that Bill Cosby was so unapproachable that the right people could have the right conversations with him so he could not come across as so tone deaf, right? I think money, and then y'all are mad about Bill Cosby because what Bill Cosby did, it was Bill Cosby before Lil Wayne did Bill Cosby? I'm confused. A lot of these celebrities that came out and said some shit to let you know that they ain't fucking with y'all like you think they fucking with y'all. And you catch them off the cuff, and when they're not trying to do the PC thing, they be like, niggas is tripping. I ain't for that. Fuck that shit. Like, you really be hearing some shit from them. Lil Wayne, you're like, damn, Wayne, that's how you feeling? Or even 50 Cent when voting for Trump, like, damn, you really out here just for yourself? I mean, that's why y'all are so surprised by that. But when I'm really trying to tell y'all, these niggas is telling you how they feel about you. especially black women. Some of these niggas are really telling you. They get on and they ain't never dated nothing that looks black. Again, they ain't dating nothing that look black again. They ain't involved in their communities. They at anything. They're not even. They've created a life outside of blackness. And then y'all just support and just come around and just think it's like y'all got all this love for them, and then y'all really find out like they ain't really fucking with us like I thought they were fucking with us. So I don't know. They're just celebrities. And if you ain't in those circles, well, just take it for what it is. You know what I mean? You poor Megan and broke my heart. I'm out here and I'm like, girl, we can sit outside the motherfucking court until they open that shit up, and we be there first thing in the morning for them to put Tori's ass in. I'm ready to ride. I'm gonna get to that because I want to make sure I end this by saying I'm not saying that Tori's not guilty. I want to make sure I put that out there, but I'll put that in the next video. But y'all bless, y'all be black, and y'all know how we do it over here. Keep it bougie, keep it posh, and we are out.